Maintaining your e-mountain bike is all part of the process of making it run smoothly and of course a lot more efficiently, and making those parts last a lot longer of course. Today I'm going to be sharing with you a bunch of tools that when it comes to working on your e-mountain bike is going to make your life so much easier. Now before we get started looking at all the tools, if you love the videos that we do here on EMBN, make sure you click that subscribe button down below. Now first tool on the list is going to be the crank stopper. Now this is a really cool tool. You're going to find it really annoying when it comes to working on your e-bike's drivetrain, when it comes to lubing and inspecting the chain, that you can't back pedal your bike as you could a standard mountain bike, particularly if you've got that bike on the floor. Now with this little tool, all it does is goes into your chainring bolts, then butts up against the crank, and it will allow you to backpedal that bike and apply lube and inspect your chain as you go. Really neat tool, which is going to make working on your drivetrain so much easier. But before you purchase one, just be sure that you've actually got chainring bolts on your chainring spider that this will go in. If you've got a one-piece design such as this bike, well, you're going to have to get a little bit more creative with that one. Now some bike brands that have the Shimano system in place on their bikes will have an inbuilt charge port built into the frame, meaning that when it comes to charging your bike up, you need to charge the bike up as a whole rather than just taking that battery out and charging it as a sole unit. Now this becomes a bit of an issue, particularly if you're staying in a hotel or something like that, which won't allow you to bring a bike in rather than just that battery. Now one little gadget that is a game changer when it comes to charging up these batteries is one of these adapters from Shimano. Now these are really good. All they do is simply plug into your battery, meaning that you can charge this up as a sole unit rather than taking that whole bike in. Super easy to use using your original charger. Just plug it into here, plug it into the battery, and away you go. No dramas. And I always like to keep one of these handies for those situations where I can't take my whole bike into my accommodation. Now a chain checker is a tool that doesn't cost a lot of cash, but it will save you a bunch of cash. Now this is super simple to use. All you do is drop it into your chain, avoiding your quick link, hook it in there, push it in here, and take a look at the wear reading. Now this is showing that this chain is around 50% worn, so it knows I've got a little bit more life in it. But a chain checker will let you know when your chain is worn out, and in turn, a worn chain will take out your cassette, your chainring, or really expensive items to replace rather than just that chain. And a chain checker, if you haven't got one, get one ASAP. If you've got Shimano cranks on your e-mountain bike and you want to install or remove them, then you will be needing one of these tools. Now all this does is simply plugs into that preload cap on the end of the axle, and all this does is just tension those bearings up before you do up the pinch bolts on the side of the crank. Now some cranks on e-mountain bikes will have an 8mm or maybe even a 10mm self-extracting bolt, which means once you undo that Allen key, it's simply going to pull that crank off in place. But if you've got the Shimano system, this is an essential tool to stop you damaging those end caps. Quick link pliers actually make the quick link name applicable, because if you haven't got a set of these, trying to undo that quick link can sometimes take hours instead of just seconds, usually accompanied by a load of swearing too. And all you do with this tool is simply insert it either side of the quick link, give it a quick squeeze, and comes undone as easy as that. Now this is great when it comes to breaking your chain for cleaning or inspecting it, and even rejoining the chain. You can simply put it in reverse, push the other way, and it clips back together. Easy as that. It's great for sticking in your riding pack too, for if you break a chain out there on the trails. And whilst we're talking about tools for working on your drivetrain, another couple of tools you might want to invest in to save you a bunch of cash is going to be a chain whip and a cassette removal tool. Now this will save you a bunch of money when it comes to replacing your chain and your cassette rather than taking it down to the bike shop. If you run the Shimano step system on your bike and you fancy doing a bit of maintenance to the electrical components on it, or maybe you've had a crash and you need to install a wire back into your display, then this is a tool that you'll need for the job in hand. Now this allows you to safely install and remove those cables from your Shimano connections, either on the display or motor. If you are just pulling on these by hand, you are at risk of snapping those wires or even damaging the connection This tool is a lot cheaper than a replacement wire, and I definitely recommend you use it rather than just pulling at those wires. A chain tool is a definite must-have for any e-mountain bike out there. I guarantee you will snap a chain at some point, or even when it comes to refreshing your drivetrain, a chain tool is something that you will need in either scenario. If you were to snap a chain out there on the trails, it's a really simple one to use. All you do is simply put it onto the chain, drive out that broken link, and then refit your quick link after, and you're good to go. Now, a chain tool is a great tool to have in your backpack and of course workshop back at home. It can definitely save the day if you were to break your chain. And you can of course get multi-tools with chain tools that are built in. These are great for sticking in your riding pack, and keep that quality chain tool for the workshop rather than carrying it around in your backpack. And lastly, when it comes to maintaining your bike, there's a few different ways of getting your bike up there into the air, and it depends on the job that you're doing and of course your budget. Now, if you've got an unlimited budget, you can get these stands which are electronic and they lift the bike automatically. So just line your bike up, connect the seat to it, press a button, and your bike gets hoisted up into the air. A definite luxury, but don't expect any change from a couple of £1,000s. Now, a standard workshop stand such as this one is definitely up to the job. Just make sure it's rated for e-mountain bikes, because of course they're a little bit heavier, and if it's not E-rated, you could see a stand that will topple over. But if you haven't got that budget for one of those big work stands, then a stand like this from Topeak, this is called the Flash Stand E-Up. Now, this costs around £50 and is a great option for tuning up your drivetrain without lifting your bike miles up off the floor also. But again, if you haven't got the budget for this one, something from the guys at Hiplock, well, they do a stand which is just £20, which compromises of a tool wrap which protects your saddle and the chocks for your handlebars. Now, you flip your bike upside down for this one. Super simple way of working on your e-bike for not a lot of cash. So there we have it, a bunch of tools and accessories that should make your e-bike life that little bit easier. Get involved in the comments box down below if I've left anything out, or the tools that you use. Love to hear from you guys. Give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe to us here on EMBN, and whilst you're there subscribing, get in the EMBN shop and check out all the latest deals.